have so many things to tell you, so many things, and I've got myself a list. I'm not reading off a script today. I don't like reading off a script, but if I don't, I go an awful lot. Can't stop myself doing it, and I go off at tangents and then forget half of what I'm intending to say. Anyway, I thought we'd have a catch up. So I'm ripping my piece of paper out here, my list, checking it twice. So just a little catch up. My last video, I think, oh God, it was really heavy, and I looked at it afterwards. It was awful. Only published 2 days ago, was it, I think, and badly edited. I kept changing colour on it. I looked absolutely knackered because I was absolutely knackered because there's been a couple of really stressful things going on recently, and it's kind of taken a toll on me. But today I thought, you know what, enough. I know I cannot be doing with that. And I've had a really nice day, but there's a number of things I wanted to talk to you about with regards to my self-published books, journals that I've published, problems with a couple of the books, that kind of thing. And so it might help you, you know. So now what's next on the list? Okay, well, I had a look last night and I've sold 4,000 books that I've self-published. Now, I actually started self-publishing in the end of 2017, and you might think, well, that's not many books, but I'll be honest, they did not sell for a very long time. I sold the odd one here or there, but it was a long time, not weeks, not months, years, actually. And I wasn't doing anything with them. I didn't know how to do anything with them, I'll be honest, because in those days I was just really watching YouTube videos that explained to you how, if you've got written, you know, a novel or a self-help book, a high content book, what to do, how to prepare the manuscript, how to upload it. There was so much I did not know, and it took me a long time to learn how to do that. And so I wasn't paying any attention to categories or marketing, because in those days I was silly and I thought all I want to do is write. I don't want to have to do that, because everything I was reading, it was leading me to believe that basically if you're going to be a self-publisher, you know, you're not going to have any time to write, because you've got to do all this other stuff, all this admin, you've got to do all this research, you've got to do all this marketing. Now, further down the line, I realised that, you know, there's a middle road. Most of us can't do any of that and get away with it. We can't say, well, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm not doing any of that. We've got to do some of it. But some people will tell you, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. It's like the self-help gurus who say to you, you've got to get up 2 hours before you went to bed, and you've got to beat yourself half to death with an old branch. And do you know what I mean? Self-sacrifice. That's the only way you're going to make it. So there's a middle road between that manic attitude and, you know, what is necessary, really. So I've been learning as I go along. And I haven't done an awful lot of marketing, I'll be honest with you. But then the book suddenly started to sell. To be honest with you, the pandemic did me a favour, because my book sales really started to take off, if you like, certainly increased notably when the pandemic started. And then from then on, you know, they kept going out, and it slowed down. But you know, it's been a constant and steady trickle. So I'm not complaining about it. So that's one thing I looked at. So 4,000 books sold. Now, there's a lot of people who go, what? I sold 4,000 books last week. I sold 4,000 books yesterday. Well, good on you. If that is true, if that is really, really true, then I take my hat off to you. I'm lazy. Well, no, I'm not lazy, actually. I say I'm lazy. I'm not. I'm always busy, but there's a fear as well. And I've talked about this before in past videos about fear. I got really afraid. I, you know, got very downhearted, like a lot of people did as the pandemic progressed. And then I lost my creative flair or desire or urge. And I've talked about this, blah, 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 blah. And that is how I then got into listening to the gurus and listening to those who are promoting journals. And I thought, oh, maybe this is a way in. Anyway, told that story. I'm like the ancient mariner. I'm having to tell my story again for eternity. However, journals, okay. So I found that it took me a lot of effort and work. There were people who were churning out 20 journals a day, but then these are just plain, or 100 even a day. These were just plain notebooks, lined notebooks, nothing in them. Okay, well, that wasn't kind of what I was going to do. So anyone who's watched any of my videos will know that I published a self-love, increase your self-worth journal. I have sold 9. I have sold the grand total of 9 of those journals. And people had said, oh, you know, people who'd watched the YouTube videos had gone, oh, this is really nice. Well, I've sold 9 of those journals. And you know what? I don't care. It was an experience. It was an experiment. It's something I did. And I can't see myself repeating it really, to be honest with you. Now, I also, didn't I create a children's book? Hang on a minute, give me one little second while I go and get it. Here I am. Can you see it? I'm actually quite pleased with it. Yes, it was made in the dreaded Canva. Yes, I haven't learned to draw and illustrate, and there are books that are being sold incredibly cheaply. I was in one of the discount stores the other day, and there were lots of books of, similar to this, but had obviously been illustrated properly by some hardworking illustrator. And I mean, they were being sold for a couple of quid, whereas, of course, all of these images have come from Canva, and you can't, you're limited. You can't have the people, the characters in it doing anything different. But apparently my 5-year-old grandson really enjoyed it. My daughter-in-law said that she read it to him and that he was pointing things out, and he was particularly enamoured with the birthday presents all wrapped up in birthday paper. He particularly liked those. So you know what? I'm not complaining about it. I think it's pretty okay. But no sales. Now, I have been playing around with Amazon ads. Now, Chris Raydog gave a free mini course, if you like, on, a few months ago. I think it was months ago. And I found that really, really, really helpful. So it's all made up of a short videos, but I found it really helpful. And I have been utilising his advice. Thank you, Chris Raydog. And so I'm playing around with it. Now, up to now, this month, I checked yesterday how much I'd spent up to now, and I'd spent £30, which is pretty good, because in the past, I was spending, I stopped using Amazon ads for a while, going, they don't work, they're just a rip-off and a con. They do work. I have sold quite a lot of books using Amazon ads. However, I've had to learn how to do it. And yeah, that means that you need to check in every now and then. Sometimes I can't be bothered. Yesterday, I thought, I don't want to see it. I don't want to, if I've ended up spending a lot more than I intended to, I can't be bothered with it. And I thought, no, stop it. Go and have a look. And I was pleasantly surprised. And so I've taken Chris Raydog's advice as well. And I've got, maybe with the same book, I've got different ads. And so one with all manual, actually, none of them are automatic, but up bids only, down bids only, up and down bids. Now, that's not exactly what he said to do, but, he explained how to sort of try it out. So I'm finding things that work, and then I'm finding the keywords that are bringing in the sales, and then you've got to decide how much, what your bid is going to be. So it's playing around with it. But I promise you, you can sell books, but through Amazon ads, but you've got to be able to make sure it doesn't run away with you. And he said something along the lines of, even if your ACOS, average cost, I think it means average cost per sale, of sale. or along those lines. Somebody will correct me. But anyway, even if it's a bit higher than you want it to be, at least if you're making those sales, it can then lead to organic sales. And so, you've just got to play around with it and see what works. And so I'd started an ad on this Annie Lee's Perfect Birthday. I've done it under a pen name, Lee Andrews. And that's the only book I've got under that name. And so people might look at it and think, that's the only thing that she's done. Or I don't think they're looking at it, actually, to be honest with you. So yesterday I played around with that. I had a look. I'm a bit of a loss as to know what to do with that, with the Amazon ads. It's not working the same as the other books are doing. It's working differently. But I'm going to keep plugging on just out of interest. I don't mind if I don't sell any. I had, a go at it. That's okay. So what else is on my list here? Now, I actually also published a grief journal, and I have made videos showing this, but I've unpublished it. Now, the problem is it's a paperback, and you have got to be really careful when you are uploading a paperback through KDP. Because if it's wrong and then you look at it and you think, oh my God, this is awful. Yeah, you can change the cover, but you can't change the title and the subtitle. And I have made that mistake more than once. You would have thought I'd have learned, wouldn't you? Oh yeah, but no. And so they're stuck up there. Anyway, this grief journal. So I decided, look, I've put a lot of effort into it. The cover isn't fantastic. I liked it, but it's I had a lot of criticism for it. And the subtitle I wasn't very happy with. So I unpublished it. Now, I thought I was being clever at the time because I also created an accompanying notebook so that if you fill all the journal up, you can then just go to the notebook. I thought that was a good idea. But seems as, neither of them are were real goers, then that means I've also got a notebook up there now that's unpublished. But what I did was, anyway, I thought, well, look, I've put effort in. I've written a number of poems. They're in there. There's some excerpts from some of my blog posts. There's some other stuff in there. And nice images, colourful images. So I thought, well, I'm not, excuse me, I'm not going to let it go to waste. So I just edited it a bit. I revamped it. And I decided, right, another cover. So I did research. And I came up with a cover idea, which is kind of similar to some of the others that seem to be selling. And so then I went to Fiverr. So instead of trying to do it myself, I went to a lady on Fiverr and I gave her as much info as I could. I gave her the image that I had come up with, but I said I want it looking better than that. And anyway, she sent me 4 choices, and I didn't know what to do. I've got no eye for these things. So I did get in touch with Sleepy Pilgrim and I said to him, hell, what do you think? And he said, don't ask me. He said, I'm not into journals. He said, they're just not my thing. And that is, I think journals are more of a woman thing, aren't they? I know my eldest daughter, for example, has got boxes of journals that she's filled up. She just writes and writes and writes and writes. That's what she does. And I know other people do. And I love notebooks. I mean, this notebook cost me $1.99 from the cheap shop, and I bought another one the other day. I just love them. I just love just blank pages just to write in. I've got them all over the place. But anyway, so I decided on the cover, and I decided to go for the one which was kind of pretty similar to the one that I designed. I hadn't done any research when I decided to do this grief journal. I just thought it tied in with my everyday job. My everyday job, which I've been doing for 28 years professionally, is an intuitive consultant. I'm basically an intuitive life coach. Anybody calls me a psychic, I'll have to punch them on the nose. I'm not. I'm an intuitive life coach. And it's something I've developed over the years. Now, here's a confession I'm going to make. I'm actually putting together a course. A course? Me? You hypocrite, after all the things you've said and after the videos you've made, you, Leanne, well, it's not really a course, to be honest with you. I don't know what to call it. My eldest daughter suggested calling it a program. I said that maybe that's quite good. Basically, it's going to be, I've started writing the scripts and I've, getting it together. But basically, it's going to be a series of, or a collection of audio and video recordings. But I say this line of work that I'm in as my day job, I don't believe it's something you can teach. I believe it's only something you can learn. Does that make sense? You can teach it. You can't teach it, but you can learn it, and it's unique to everyone. So I thought, well, look, I'll just talk about my experiences and I'll talk about what I do and how it works for me. And it might help people. And I'm going to charge the same price for it as I charge for a consultation, which is way, way less than $100. Okay. And so it's going to be there. And if people want it, but I don't know what to call it. It's not a course. I don't even really know what qualifies as a course. It's just me saying, look, this is what I do. This is a good idea. These are some tips here. This is how I handle this. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel I'm qualified to do it because I've been doing this work for 28 years and I'm still learning. I haven't been doing it for a week or 3 months and all of a sudden I'm an expert like so many people in the KDP world are. So anyway, I thought I'd confess that. It's out there now. I'm a hypocrite. I'm putting together a course. So anyway, so that's why I thought a grief journal, it'll kind of tie in with the books I've already got. But anyway, doing my research now, I find that actually grief journals really don't sell that well. There's not a huge demand for them. There are a small number of people who obviously done a very good job with theirs and they've sold quite a lot and they've got a lot of reviews, but that's a small number of people. Now, again, I'm not bothered. I thought I've come this far, I've put this effort, this work in, let's just get it done, let's get it up there and let's leave it. If somebody buys it, they buy it. If they don't buy it, there it is. However, problems with KDP. And I found that I've had problems with the journals that I've done. There's always been some kind of blooming problem. With this one, I had a word, I actually phoned KDP, you know this no content, low content and no ISBN number thing going on. So weeks and weeks ago, I'd spoken to somebody at KDP and I said, so would a book that's got, a collection of poems in there and then some articles, if for want of a better word, text in there and images, would that be classed as a low content book? And they said, no, it wouldn't. And so I went to KDP to upload the manuscript, the updated manuscript, to upload the cover, and I've chosen my keywords and all of that. And I didn't tick the low content box. So then a few days goes by and then I get an email from them saying, you haven't ticked the low content box and this is a low content book. So I phoned KDP again. I'm not bothered. It's no skin off my nose, whether it goes with an ISBN or it doesn't. I couldn't care less. But I just thought, well, I didn't need to be sure, but I just was nosy. I wanted to know. So I phoned KDP and I said, so is it or isn't it? And they said, oh, I don't know. I'll ask and we'll get in touch with you. Anyway, I got an email again a couple of days later after that saying it is a low content book and they ticked the box for me, so I don't have a choice. So you could now go ahead and publish. So I went ahead and published. 2 days after that, I get another email telling me that my margins aren't correct. Now, they were correct when I originally uploaded it, but I don't know what I've done in the meantime, but I've done something to muddle up my margins. So I had, when I uploaded it and looked in the previewer, it didn't show any problems, but they emailed me to say, and I think there was just 1 or 2 images actually would have going outside of the margins, I think now, because I went back and I redid the margins in the whole damn thing. And now that was yesterday and I pressed publish. So let's see, it'll either publish or I'll get another email. So this is the real This is the real world of self-publishing and KDP. This is the real story. What else? I've got a book out there called Spirits, Ghosts and Troublesome Entities. It's a pamphlet, really. I can't remember how many pages are in it. There's about 100, I think, maybe a bit less. And I enjoy it from my viewpoint. It's talking about my experiences and how I view it. And I asked ages ago, because Sleepy Pilgrim has been incredibly helpful. He'll help people if you ask him. You know, he's a really good guy. He doesn't deserve flack for being honest with people. He doesn't deserve flack for explaining that, you know, what the con artists are up to. You know, he's trying to help people, but some people don't get it. But he's also got a very big following who do get it. Anyway, so he's very skeptical of anything to do with, you know, the psychic spiritual world. And, you know, who can blame him? It's got a very, very dark underbelly. And there are a lot of con artists out there. But I asked him months ago, I said, I know you're so busy. You know, this was by email, by the way. You know, would you be willing at any point to look at this book for me? Because I just, you know, it's just not grabbing attention. So he very kindly offered to read it. Please don't go sending him all your books because he hasn't got time to read them. I got in there before he started, you know, he was already really, really busy, but he's now really, really, really busy. And he said to me, he was so kind, and he said, look, you know, it's well written. And he said, I'd give it 4 stars. He said, but it's clinical. I think that's the term he used, clinical. He said, I really like to be scared. But to be honest with you, I think it will take an awful lot to scare him. I have got some people who've read it who go, I found it really creepy. And it's not supposed, no, I didn't set out for it to be creepy. But I suppose the content is creepy. But, you know, it's going to have to be really, really, really creepy to scare Sleepy Pilgrim, isn't it? But I really appreciated his feedback. It was really good of him. And so I don't know whether that is, whether people are, I mean, I've tried to word my description so it's not, so people aren't expecting to have their pants scared off them. It's more really about, I try to get across information, what I know, my take on it, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, I also did a free promotion of it last week and I think 20 people took me up on that and downloaded a free copy. So not many, but it's been stuck at 9 reviews for ages. So, you know, it's so hit and miss in the self-publishing world. At least up to this point, I haven't had anyone say, and it can happen at any day, any time, oh, you know, this book is badly written. For the poor reviews or ratings, if, you know, and of course I've got them, and you've got to have them because, you know, otherwise it's not real, is it? Are generally for other things like people disagree with my views, or they expect my work to be, you know, like all the same stuff that's put out there by the spiritualist mediums, and I'm not one of those. So sometimes, because a lot of people don't read the descriptions, you know, they just see it and they think, oh, okay, I'll have that, which is the way the world is. So we've talked about Amazon ads. We've talked about some of the difficulties with self-publishing, the reality of it all. And, you know, I'm being upfront and transparent about things. But, you know, I wanted to make a video that was kind of, you know, fun and informative, and just so that we could share a little bit, yeah? Okay then, see you soon.